Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Eugene Honrath from Shadow Warriors. Meet the Maker interview. I've got Thomas Rice from Borne Knife and Tool Company. How are you?
Doing fantastic, sir. How are you?
Good, 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 good. Thank you for joining me today. I already said your name, but give me a quick synopsis of who you are, where you're located, your company name, and then the products that you create.
Yes, sir. Well, first off, it's a privilege to be asked to be interviewed and to be with you like this. As you say, my name is Thomas Rice. I am the owner and designer behind Born and Fire Knife and Tool. Um, Started making knives. I'm younger than I look. Uh, 30 years ago, while I was on active duty. It's rather grown since then, and a few years ago, decided to go full time with this. I've been making knives and tools for active duty and for law enforcement for some time, and didn't realize at the time that at least the functional designs that I do were kind of ahead of their time.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm also a master metalsmith, which means I'm related to all the smiths, goldsmiths, blacksmiths, silversmiths, all those smiths
Are we
have
talking
school.
about jewelry and those kind of things?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I formerly trained under Professor Nelda Getty at Colorado State University in the metalsmithing program. As far as I know, there was only two programs like that in the continental United States at the time. It's more common overseas in Europe.
Okay.
Um, we don't hear about it too much here. There is quote unquote jewelry programs here and there, but they don't fully encompass um, everything that falls within the metalsmith's preview. If you add to that the fact that I've got experience in the high tolerance prototype for aircraft industry, see, I'm tongue tied. I'm very low on caffeine at this particular point. Um,
I feel you on that one.
but that gives you an idea. I have a very diverse background, and really what drove it was the initial need was while I was on active duty, nothing that I was carrying for an edge tool would do what I needed. And I also wanted to reduce my kit because, as any soldier will tell you, you can only carry so much, although we carry a lot. And instead of carrying, let's say, 12 edge tools, I was on to only carry 9.
Gotcha, gotcha. Uh,
So it was very, very need driven.
when you have tens of pounds of packs, I could see that wanting to reduce that. So, what branch of the military were you in?
U.S. Army.
Okay. How long were you
Yeah.
in?
I was in over a little over 6 years. Started off in aircraft, doing structural repair, and that's where some of the aircraft work came in. After the first year, went about as far as I could. Had made Division Mechanic of the Year. Had breakfast with an awesome gentleman by the name of General Colin Powell. Um, then made everybody's life can be usually marked by some act of hubris. Mine was going into military intelligence.
Okay.
Um, and as I like to tell people, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in many years looking, but we never found any military intelligence. Had a lot of fun.
But I'm bummed.
That's about as good as my jokes get.
So tell me what got you into. So I'll assume that you make what are the products, and then we'll talk about how you got into it. I know you said you wanted to reduce your load as a soldier, but tell me what products do you create now?
Okay, what we create today, I do have a line of jewelry that I do, but I had to evaluate over time. A person only has so much time in their day.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do something. Jewelry started in this world as portable wealth. You could take an armband and break off a piece of that gold and hand it to somebody for your tacos. Okay, that was great. However, once it's gone, it's gone. If you have a tool can persist and be with you forever. And with tools, you can make other tools, you can do other things. And so it's a lifelong investment. It's something that's with you forever. So I made a very fundamental change and decided to get away from what all my peers were doing as designers and bench jewelers. in that industry, and started going more toward the practical side,
Okay.
functional items.
All right. So you make knives and functional jewelry, or?
Well, we're going to get more into the functional jewelry later on, or I call jewelry with an edge, uh, for the pretties, because I know everyone likes to have some little folding knife or something that they can brag about, and that's nice. It's a nice status thing. But right now, I'm making mostly fixed tools, entry tools, to help law enforcement and firefighters. It became obvious that we needed something that, if you needed to get into this vehicle and your department couldn't afford the jaws of life, needed something that would very quickly get you into that rig to extract the person out of there before other bad things happen.
Okay.
And I wanted a tool. Everything that I could find on the market at this time, well, not everything, but the majority of what I was finding did not hold up to the kind of use that I would put it through.
Okay. So
That is,
that tells me what we want to hear. Tell me a little bit about your company, when it started, who's involved in it, and then kind of get into what your specialty is. And I know we mentioned knives, but then we'll get into a little bit of that,
right.
and if you have some to show. So tell me a little bit about your company.
Okay. The company name is Borne Knife and Tool. The basic premise of this was that when we started, it's 2016, when we started officially under this name 6 years ago.
Okay.
What we did is we brought a flagship series online, which started with the very first design of over 30 years ago, which was, pardon for the more sensitive audience out there, but it's called A Big Bastard. There's an entire series that's copyrighted under the Bastard series of functional knives, all functional tools.
Okay.
What we've done is I've partnered up with people like Carl Carpenter with Paladine Intellects. They handle the IT side. Also, Carl has got a tremendous legacy of experience in the real world, both as a soldier, a veteran, and in law enforcement. He actually helps train law enforcement on how to stay alive in very bad situations.
Okay.
So it's wonderful to bring him on board. It looks like we're bringing in people on board like Dawn of Defense with Zach Holloway. Some of the newer, more exciting companies that are just exploding on the scene and looking to meet the demands of people out there who want higher-end, top-shelf functional tools.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. I think that gives us what we want. So tell me a little bit about the functional tools and how they're purpose-driven, about the features that you've incorporated into some of your knives on an overall, not necessarily specifically, but overall.
Right. Well, first off, I guess the most fundamental thing is as with anything, you start with the purpose of the design. And in my case, I was with the very first one, was trying to do something that would do everything that a field soldier would need. That would also include someone who was doing extreme hiking, bushcraft, because weight's very, very important. We're all very partial to eating, water, things like that, to keep body and soul together. So it's kind of important we have to have X amount of that with us, and then the rest of it is to help keep body and soul together. So what I wanted was a tool that would function both as, well, many things. I needed to be able to operate as a small hatchet. I needed to be able to produce hasty shelters, dress game, prepare other tools, help prepare a meal, help do repairs, whatever. At the heart of all this is, in choosing the steel, I went with something that was actually the super steel of today. Is very old, and that's hot rolled 1095.
Okay.
It's the exact same thing still used to this day in Marine Corps buoys, tank treads, dozer blades. It's an incredible material, and I do differentially tempering. Differential tempering means we start with an edge that's rock hard. You've got a zone through the center of the blade that's spring steel and temper, and then you've got a back that's relatively soft. You end up with a high performance tool that is capable of flexing. At worst case, the edge may chip or crack, it takes a whole lot to do that. But the bottom line is you don't end up with a bunch of little pieces in your hands. You still have a tool. You can take one of my blades, bend it over, crack the edge, straighten it out with a rock, and you still have something that's going to help you get home.
Okay, so I normally don't get into too specifics like this, but I haven't heard it at all. So I'm going to ask about it. Is the 1095 HR or hot rolled? What's the difference between the hot rolled and the cold rolled, or the hot rolled and the regular 1095?
Okay. In
Quickly.
1095, to the best of my knowledge right now, and I certainly don't know everything, is you do have the hot rolled, you have the cold rolled.
Okay.
And it's just pounds. If you can imagine at the mill in cold rolling, what we do is we're cold forming the metal. It looks nicer because it's usually what's called Blanchard ground, which means it comes out looking nice and shiny and it's all perfect. And that's real popular with a lot of knife makers. The difference is this: hot roll 1095 is pressed through rollers at forging temperature, which in this case is 1750 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
It's ugly. It's got a factory, what's called a mill scale on it, which has to be removed, and it's tough stuff to have to deal with. But in the process, the grain structure between the two, one looks like it's been forged. In many cases, it's been confused by experienced buyers out there. They think they're buying something that's been forged by a man standing at an anvil with a hammer, when in fact it's rolled through dies, rollers at high temp at 1750 degrees under pressure, and it's the same pressure that's used in, say, making files. It's the exact same process, but in this case, we're just making a single piece of metal.
So
the grain structure in the end is totally different.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted to hear. So the reality of it is that you're using 1095 hot rolled steel for a reason, because you believe that it offers superior features to other steels that you've seen.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Okay.
I know that I'm going to have some traditionalists up in arms over this, but I call it pre-forged because of the grain structure. Anyone can see that by doing a quick acid test.
Yeah, well, you could do a quick Google search too. So I like that. so let's talk about your flagship product line, the Bastard series, and tell me from the top to the bottom. Tell me about the knife. If you have some dimensions on it, that would be awesome. Tell me about the middle, and then tell me about the smaller end of it.
Okay. Right now, in the primary Bastard series, we've got 3 blades. Okay. And I want to tell everybody real quick that everything I make pretty much, I do tend to work in series, even though I do one-off customs all the time for people. I do work in series. That way, I can get a high-end product to you. Instead of you waiting a year, we can do it in 4 to 6 months. And you're getting a world-class product. Everything I do, though, is in both male and female, as it were. In the Bastard series, it's a Tanto point. I have the same exact knife, same specs, except with a Bowie style nose, and we call those a bitch series. You're looking at the top one is the Big Bastard. That's 14.1 inches long, 1/4 inch thick, approximately 1.33 or 1 1/3 inches from spine to edge. You're looking at a single guard that's pressed into place, it's riveted with 2 tool steel pins, Class C machinable adhesive under it. I don't know what it would take to come off. I've had owners go out there and literally beat hardwood posts to pulp just using the guard. Pardon me just a minute. I had a visitor get in my eye. You're looking at some of the most unique features about it is, of all things, it's so fundamental, it's the hologrind. The hologrind is what I call a fractal hologrind, and it literally, if you hold it point down or point away from you, edge down, the hologrind rolls down and out each side. It means that the blade gets progressively thicker towards the tip. There's more mass towards the tip. However, they're still balanced. If you take one of the Big Bastards and you put the guard right up against your index finger, it's going to balance right there on that point.
Okay.
But with that mast out toward the tip, it has more impact. It's called a force multiplier. You're looking at compound edges, true compound edges, where you don't have these weird plunge lines through the blade. You go from about a 30-degree angle cutting edge at the tanto to 25 on the front third, which is used for chopping, like cutting down trees,
Okay.
to a 20-degree for the main body. Stepping down from that, you go to something that's roughly the size of a Marine Corps buoy. The first one has an 8-inch blade, 8.5-inch cutting area. The Fat Bastard has a 6-inch blade, 6.5-inch cutting surface. And then the Little Bastard has a 4-inch blade.
Okay.
That allows it to be carried in a lot of states where, you know, they don't want you to get too big. We even have been known to do those totally custom for law enforcement and others and cut it down to a 3.5-inch cutting surface for the individual.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so that's the Fat Bastard, or that's the Bastard series of knives, all with functional features. And then you have, tell me about just a quick note on your other, the Bitch series and the Viking series, and kind of tell me a little bit about, not a ton about each knife, but just about the series in general.
Yeah. One of the things I'm leaving out here is extremely critical. I know that this quote-unquote acid wash finish is real popular today, which is nothing more than an oxide finish that's created by putting it into a caustic bath like ferric chloride. That's fine as far as it goes. What we've done in our doing our research is we've dealt with several different engineers. We have chosen Cerakote weapons finish. It's a baked ceramic epoxy finish. Right now, it's the toughest thing on the planet. That goes on all the blades. The only exception to any of that is the Ghost series, which is more of an art knife, and it will be a knife that has multiple Hamans or multiple temper lines to it. And it's honestly, even though it's highly functional or perfectly functional, it's more intended for something to look at and just visually enjoy. Real quick, in the next series is the Viking series. It starts with Loki and Sijin. For those that are familiar, Sijin was Loki's wife. So you got a Tanto and a buoy nose there. They're fundamentally the same thing as the Bastard series, but they're 12 inches overall length, single piece integral guard. Everything's cut from a single piece of steel. Again, detachable G10 handles. You've got all the functionality of the Bastard series at a price point that's 33% less.
Okay.
It has the compound edge. You go from there. We've got the reverse warning and the Irish Bastard, which is a ringed. It's a cross between a Viking Spar and a cleaver. Very aggressive profile to it. We just came out with the Spar, which is a 12-inch. Let's just say it looks like a Viking sax. We've got a Hunter series, which is a set of deep belly skinners that come in a variety of sizes. Then you have your everyday carry, which includes the Little Bastard and has something called a balder, and it's this 9-inch overall blade, 9-inch overall knife, 4-inch blade, and it's very, very minimalistic profile. There's nothing to catch. It still has a full guard to protect your hand from slipping forward, which is the most common injury associated with knives in a self-defense situation or in other, is where your hand slips forward on the knife. Can't have that. That would be very, very bad with any knife, particularly with my knives.
Okay.
We have a line of folders coming out in the very near future, along with a variety of other fixed blades.
Tell me a little bit about you. So those are your low production models. Those are your series. Do you do custom work?
I do. And it's funny. I was thinking about this just before you called. Give you an example is I had a father get a hold of me, and he wanted a knife for his 12-year-old girl. And what I love to do with people, for instance, every single person that gets a hold of me to order a knife, what I do is I have them send me a picture of your dominant hand, whichever it is, and I want them to put a 6-inch ruler across the palm. After 30 years or so, I can tell by looking at your hand in that picture how to set up the geometry on the handle to fit your hand.
Okay.
And so far, I've had a really, interesting responses from people. Most of the time, in their words, oh, I just can't put the knife down, and they don't put the knife down until at some point they like cut themselves.
Nice.
No.
All right. So you'll take, if someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I would like this created, or I would like, one of your current series knives converted into something a little bit different," you're willing to do that.
Oh, all the time.
Perfect. That's what I
All the
love to hear. So tell me a little bit about, why don't you give me a recap of your company, and then where can we buy your knives, and then some of your social media links. Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? And then I will include that in the description.
Okay, thank you very much. Of course, you can go to, well, hold it, recap. Um, Based on 30 years experience in dealing with both the military and private industry, what we're doing is we're trying to bring all that knowledge to bear to bring absolute world-class heritage. We want these to be heirloom quality blades. My goal is that, number one, hopefully these things actually make a difference in your life. I'll take some precious time to express this.
Yeah.
I had a young SEAL come to me and said, "Thank you very much. I want you to know that your knife is part of the reason why I made it back." Best day ever.
Yeah.
And that's what I want, because I know that I've had tools fail on me out in the field, and there is nothing worse in this world than the feeling of when you're in a situation to where you want to see the sun come up and you have a badly needed tool breaking your hands, and you can't run to the corner store to get another one. But anyway, what we're going to do is I want to get this set up to where we're making tools that are world class, that's going to last for generations, and get it to you and your family. At the same time, I would like to help bring your ideas to life. You come to me and you say, "Thomas, I've always wanted this knife." We're going to do absolutely everything we can to bring that dream into fruition, and based against the background of experience and education. Don't want to make something for you that doesn't work, but what we do is we put it into the filter. We come out with your dream in a form that will actually benefit you.
Yeah.
And we're looking at developing a number of products for the future. I want to help other young businessmen. We just took in somebody with Gorilla Holsters who is just absolutely phenomenal. We work with JTS Systems. We're going to be working with Dawn Defense, and every one of these is new companies. Every one of these, pretty much without exception, is someone that has a background who served this country or is serving this country in some form or another. And that's the kind of people I enjoy working with. So that gives you an idea of where the company's going. We're going to steadily be expanding over time to where we can, as long as there's absolutely no compromise on the quality. As far as I'm concerned, I'll always stay onesie. I'll just produce one knife a day for the rest of my life. That's what it takes. There's just no compromising on that.
So where are you guys on social media and on the internet?
Social media. You can go to www.borneinfire, and that's Borne as in airborne. There's an E at the end of Borne.com for the website. Social media, you can find us at Borne and Fire Knife and Tool on Facebook. You can find me, Thomas Rice, on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. And you're welcome to contact me directly via email. I'm sure Mr. Onworth will have that up. I try to stay accessible. Try to keep down any messages at 3 a.m. I need my sleep, but that's the primary way is getting hold of us. I try to keep in touch or have personal contact with every single person that we sell a knife to.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. Shadow Warriors Meet the Maker interview.